Good evening, morning, afternoon, whenever you are watching this video. I am Damien of the Virtual Pub Project, but you probably already knew that. So, what are we looking at today? We are looking at a piece of legislation that has changed hugely over the last couple hundred years and affects us pretty much every day. It's the drink driving laws. You have too many beers, you can't drive home from the pub. That is the law, but there was actually a time when it wasn't the law. Okay, we're talking about 18th century here, because the first ever law came into effect in 1872. Now, what did that specify? It specified that if you were in control of a horse and cart, or a steam-driven engine, and you were deemed to be under the influence of alcohol, you could be fined up to 40 shillings, or spend several weeks in hard labour and prison. That's great, but how do you prove that someone's under the influence of alcohol in 1872? Sort of where it all fell apart, really. But that was the introduction of what we have now today as the modern drink driving laws. If you are in control of a machine that is powered by a horse or by steam, you are not allowed to go and get drunk. And yeah, it came with that fine. It's about 60 quid in today's money, which is quite a lot more slack than the rules we have nowadays. Obviously, drink driving is a horrendous offence, and if you are the kind of idiot who goes to a pub and drinks beer and then goes, I'm totally fine to drive home, you're an idiot. So, this goes on for quite some time. And obviously the rules specify it is a steam engine. Now, before I go on, there is a beautiful, beautiful law that I've been told of a million times, and I really want to prove that this is real, although my research has sort of thrown a curveball in here. Because there's a lot of people who say it's definitely true, and there's a lot of people who claim that no, it's definitely not true. But supposedly, in UK law, and I specify the word supposedly here, under UK law, it is perfectly legal to stand on the roof of a fast-moving train if you can prove that you are able to drive a steam locomotive. Why? It comes back to drinking, actually. So, early 18th century, this is before we have the classic scenes of a steam train that we know today. These are more sort of like the rocket era, and these slightly more experimental steam trains. And the big thing then was, who has the fastest steam train? Who has the fastest machine? And they had a couple of engineers who were well known for pushing machines to their limits, a breaking point to get those speed limits. So what did they do? They arranged for the steam engine to be there. They were like, yep, we've got a clear track, we're going to do this. And at the last minute cancelled. Nope, we're not doing it today, chaps. Really sorry. So the engineer goes, still get paid, right? Oh, thank you very much. Pub over there. And goes and gets leglessly drunk. He is paralytically drunk. At which point, a couple hours later, someone goes, oh, the 9:45 from wherever's a bit late. If you want to go and do your steam run thing, go for it. At which point, they run and they find the engineer and they go, we can do the speed run. And here goes. And they carry him to the steam engine. He's too drunk to walk. They carry him to the steam engine. And he gets behind the controls and breaks the all-time speed record. How do they think they did that? Back in those days, steam engines didn't have this lovely cab that protects you from the elements. And it was believed that the hard, cold air hitting him in the face as he attempted to do the run blew away his drunkenness and alerted him to the point that he was able to operate the machine as if he was sober. So they changed the... Supposedly, anyway, it is perfectly legal to stand on the roof if you can prove that you're a qualified engineer driver of steam locomotives, because if you had a loco driver who was a bit tired and a bit dreary, he could then go and stand on the roof to wake himself up to make sure he could drive the machine safely. That's supposed the rumour. I would like to get some better... If you have any evidence on this, my research has shown me nothing, really. So I would like to get a bit more information on that, if you happen to have some. But anyway, we move forward a little bit area. Obviously, that law specifies steam engines, and it's very clear about specifying steam engines. So this carries on for quite some time. People are fairly aware, if we're driving a horse and cart or a steam engine, we cannot be drunk behind the wheel. We will get in trouble. Then some clever spark invents the internal combustion engine, which is not powered by steam. And because people are idiots, they magically assume that they'll be able to get drunk and drive these machines perfectly safely. Which is why in 1899, a 6-horse-powered car crashes as a result of the drivers being drunk, and 2 men are flung from the car, hit the pavement, and are killed at the scene. This then sparks quite a major argument in Parliament. These rules are a bit dumb. They specify steam engines and not all these other wonderful technologies we have that you could be driving that could cause an accident if you are drunk whilst you do it. So in 1925, the law changes. Any vehicle that you are in control of, any vehicle at all, if you are in control of the vehicle, you are drunk, you will get big fines. Or 4 months in prison, I think was the other one. So they start getting serious about the fact that actually drink driving is really dangerous and you shouldn't do it. So serious is this implication that driving under the influence is really dangerous that actually only 5 years later Parliament changed the law again. Not because of alcohol this time, but because, the 60s, people were doing a lot of things that weren't alcohol, that are actually quite a lot more dangerous and all this. And we're then getting behind their motor vehicles because, hey dude, it's not alcohol, we could totally do this and kill someone on the motorway. So yeah, 1967, they changed the law again. It is an offence to be under the influence of any intoxicant at this point. Now, that's fine and all, but there's one major problem we have with this. And it actually relates to a joke a lot of people in the bar industry say. How do you tell if someone's drunk? There's an old joke in this industry, it's illegal to serve someone who's drunk, yet it's our job to get people drunk. How do you know where that line is? And actually, just on the surface of things, it's really difficult to do. Someone can, for example, walk up to a bar, perfectly straight, yes, 1 pint of finest bitter, please, yes, and then go outside, get hit by the cold air, and fall over because they're legless. How do you judge that? And this was actually a major issue for the drinking driving rules. It was down to the goodwill of the officer who pulled you over to determine if you were drunk or not. And then had to go to court, where, it's kind of hard to prove that person was definitely drunk or definitely not drunk. So how did they how did they solve this massive issue? Well, this actually comes to effect in 1967, the same year that the rules on driving while intoxicated were introduced, because some clever so-and-so invents the breathalyzer. And from that, we can tell exactly how much alcohol someone has in their system at any one time. So this is again the sort of law as it stands today. The only major real difference is in the year 2000, an Act of Parliament was passed that stated that a judge, when taking someone to court for drinking and driving under the influence, whichever, could actually refer them to go to rehab sort of things, to help them if they felt that person was suffering from a long-term addiction to either drink or drugs, which sort of again shows the attitudes changing throughout the years from the 18th century where it was totally legit to nowadays where actually that's not okay. And to answer the old age question that everyone asks me, well, not everyone, but lots of people have asked me this in the nearly 15 years I've been a bartender, what is the amount I can drink and then drive? And the answer is nothing. Just get a taxi. Get a mate to drive you. If you're the kind of idiot who gets behind a wheel after drinking, you are just a bad person. You don't just put your own life at risk, you put the life of other people at risk, and that's not cool. So don't drink and drive. Don't take any form of intoxicant and drive. And there is a quick history of the driving under the influence rules of the UK for the last several hundred years. As I say in all these videos, that is a very quick look at it. There is a lot more information, a lot more detailed stuff, but it's all very minor things that went along the line, so I've kept a lot of them out. But that's just a very quick history of the drink driving laws within the UK and how we came about getting them. As always, hit the like button, hit the share button, and I've been Damien of the Virtual Pub Project. See you soon.